Billy Joe, you are dressed for a Del Rio dog fight. You'd sure look better in Hager slacks. Or a Hager sport coat and slacks. Even a Hager vested suit. A variety of outfits you don't have to be rich to afford. Oh, Billy Joe, you look like $1 million.
Make that too.
Billy
Hager,
Joe.
because looking good makes you feel good.
Hey, Mom!
Oh, hiya, Sonny.
Stop sitting around, Mom. Let's take a ride in my new Ford pickup.
All right, let me drive. Oh, I can handle it.
This is the one that's built tough with Ford's exclusive twin I-beam suspension and a new 4-speed overdrive option.
All right.
And extensive rust-fighting materials on underbody parts.
What you think, Mom?
You may think I'm off my rocker. This Ford is tough.
Of all Ford trucks registered over the last 12 years, 93 out of 100 are still on the job.
Frank Lieber along with Johnny Morris. Bloomington, Minnesota, Metropolitan Stadium, as we head back to play with 2 minutes left in the first half. The Vikings will have a 3rd down and 4 from the Bear 22-yard line. They lead 10-0. Keep in mind, in last year's game up here, the Vikings led at halftime 17-0, and the Bears almost pulled it out. Lost by 1 point, 20-19. Tarkenton throwing on 3rd down, 4, finds his receivers covered. Tried to get the pass away to Miller. Good pressure that time by Wally Chambers, and Chambers is hot. He thought that he grounded it.
He thought it was a grounding in the ball, but Miller was right there, so there was a receiver in the area. Great field by Tarkenton. He keeps those legs going. Oh, that's the secret to Tarkenton. And he throws the ball just as his knees were going to hit, but there was Miller right in the area, number 35. So, I don't know. I think he got rid of it in time, don't you? Even though he's on his way down?
Well, let's see here. I did a little research on that rule there in the last week. I might throw something in here. Krause puts it down. That's a 39-yard field goal attempt, and he's got it. Fred Cox is 2 out of 3. I did a little checking because Tarkenton has been known to do that. And the rule book states specifically it is up to the official, which is a tough call, to read, in effect, read the quarterback's mind as to whether or not he's grounded the ball. Whether or not a receiver is in the area doesn't matter anymore. That used to be the case. But in the last 2 or 3 years, they have changed the rule, and they say it doesn't matter if there's anybody around, but in the opinion of the official, is he trying to ground the ball or not?
The only thing, it did appear that Tarkenton knew where Miller was. Of course, he knows where all these people are, and threw the ball that way. So, but anyway, 3 points for the Vikings. It's 13-0.
CBS Sports Spectacular next Saturday afternoon at 4:30. Tripleheader boxing from Las Vegas. Leon Spinks and Scott Ledoux in a battle of heavyweights, and then Leon's little brother Michael takes on Gary Summerhays and Bernardo Machado against Greg Johnson. That's another heavyweight battle, and the world's strongest men competition, all on the CBS Sports Spectacular. Kickoff is short and fielded by number 35, Roland Harper of the Bears, who takes it back to the 32-yard line. So the Bears will have 1:46 to work with in the first half as they try to get on the scoreboard. Avellini hasn't thrown the football as much as we might have thought he might.
5 passes.
Yeah.
5 passes he has thrown to this point.
And this against a team that is has the best rushing defense in the NFC. Harper and Payton, the setbacks. Obviously, he's got to throw it here to get in shape for a score. And he's got a receiver wide open in Bull Rather at the 50-yard line. He's run out of bounds by Bobby Bryant in front of the Minnesota bench.
Very nice timing by the Bears on that. Avellini to Rather came back for the ball, and actually Rather had time enough to turn around and face the defensive back after he caught it. He'll go down and out and come back. That's a very deep out. Comes back, and the timing was good enough, and the back was off far enough that Rather was able to turn around and face his defensive back and get a couple of 3 yards out of it. The defensive back should be on those patterns trying to hit the man at least when he's catching the ball.
Bears are at the Viking 48-yard line. After a 20-yard pickup, we get penalty markers everywhere.
I'll bet you it goes against the Chicago Bears.
Offside.
Ted Albrecht, the left tackle, moved, and Peyton was a little bit on the move too, but he could have been theoretically going in motion, but when both of them went, there was problems. There's the left tackle.
64, offense, illegal procedure, first down.
Illustrated for you very graphically. That moves it back to the Bear 47. It is first down 15. A minute 40 left to play in the first half. Plenty of time for the Bears, and they've got the timeouts. Avellini sees an opening, 45, 50, down to the 45-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. Halftime, of course, means a rundown on all the scores around the National Football League in this 5th weekend of 1977. So be sure and stay tuned. Here's what's upcoming next weekend on CBS. Interesting lineup of regional games for you. Cowboys in Philadelphia, Green Bay and Tampa Bay, Giants in Washington. Trying to make it 2 in a row over the Redskins this year, which would be unusual. Bears are home against Atlanta.
Yes, and the Falcons, of course, surprising this year at 3-1. They're losing to Buffalo in the third quarter today, 3-0. New Orleans, St. Louis, and Detroit, San Francisco.
If you're wondering about the Vikings, they play Los Angeles a week from tomorrow night.
Monday night game.
Second down 7 when we get back to work here. Bears have the football on the Viking 45-yard line. You see the time remaining, 1 minute and 29 seconds. Thus far, the Viking defense has pretty well shut down the Bears. Peyton has had a couple of bursts, but the Bears haven't been able to capitalize.
Avellini's been on the sidelines talking to Jack Pardee and Sid Gilman, who talks in turn with Fred O'Connor upstairs in the press box. Pardee has really brought the Bears around from a 4-10 record to 7-7 last year, and then this year they are 2-2. Very young team, though. Great future ahead.
Second and 7. Avellini standing in there strong. Now runs it. 45, 40, 35, 30, and out of bounds at the 28-yard line. One of the officials took a pretty good shot there from Krause trying to get out of the way.
Well, that's 2 weeks in a row. Bob Avellini has run the ball out of the pocket. He's not noted as a running quarterback, but he stepped forward in the pocket nicely. Good coverage downfield by the Vikings, and he saw a wide open spaces. Good blocking by the Bear line. And here goes Avellini. He carries that ball kind of loosely, but he saw people like Siemens and Eller coming along, and Bob did the wise thing. Man, let me out of bounds. Didn't even get a scratch, not even a bump.
George Murphy, the head linesman, took the fiercest shot on that play. First down, Bears at the Viking 27. A minute 20 to go in the half. Avellini, sideline throw to Bo Rather, and Rather is rocked out of bounds by Nate Wright, number 43.
Good grab by Rather, but Nate Wright did the job the way he's supposed to. You can't very well intercept a pass that's 5 yards down the field, and if you just lower the boom on the receiver, he'll be thinking about it the next time that he comes down for that short pass. So Nate Wright did his job. He'll give you the 5 yards, let you take your punishment.
Pickup of 4 on the play, actually. It'll be second down 6 with the ball at the 23-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. Bears' most serious threat. If they can get on the scoreboard before halftime, picture's going to look a whole lot brighter. Avellini under pressure over the middle, complete to Scott at the 9. First down. James Scott with a diving catch at the 9-yard line. And now the Bears will call time.
James Scott, who caught 2 for 142 yards last week, went faked a little dipsy-do, came inside. The pass was back to him. He came to the ball and made the grab. Good timing, good execution by all involved on the Bear offense. Bring that ball, bring the receiver back to you.
Pickup of 14 yards on the play. You basketball fans, we're about to get with it again. NBA on CBS. And we'll start the way we left off. The Philadelphia 76ers, the Portland Trail Blazers. Friday night, October 28th, 11:30 p.m. Dr. J going against Bill Walton. Rematch of last year's exciting championship series. Hard to believe basketball's here already, isn't it?
I'll tell you what. Right now is the time of the year when all 4 major sports are going on. Hockey and basketball. There's Bud Grant, who went hunting yesterday after practice. He loves to get up in the country and hunt a little bit. He's won 8 out of the last 9 years. He's won the division title. Of course, they've had trouble in the Super Bowl. But let me ask you, Frank, who would have beaten Oakland in the Super Bowl last year? Nobody.
I don't know anybody. Question is, who's going to beat them this year? You know, they tie a record. If they win today, that'll be 18 straight victories in regular season and postseason.
The Raiders?
Raiders do, yeah. Once again, NFL today coming up at halftime. First down, goal to go. Bears from the 9-yard line. Avellini on the rollout. Fires. Oh! Bo Rather for the touchdown. Boy, you don't think he caught that in a crowd.
And you should have seen the spike by number 69, Reevy Sorry, but I'll tell you, Bob Avellini threaded the needle on that pass. The partial rollout, good blocking by the line out front. Walter Payton's in on the blocking, too. He stops. Rather just went down there, turned in, and look at that ball. Right between two Minnesota defenders. The Bears are back in the ball game despite being dominated the first part of the game. Here's the rollout. Everybody's out there, even Piper, number 53, looking for somebody. And there is the pass right between the Viking defenders. Good play by the Bears. It's a new ball game.
Bob Thomas, extra point try is blocked. Up the middle. This is where we came in last year. As I recall, they had problems with a couple of extra points in last year's game up here that eventually proved to be the difference in winning and losing.
It may have been Matt Blair. I'm not sure. Let's take a look.
Looks like it came up the middle.
I think it was Matt Blair. Yes, it was. Who knocked that ball with his hand, just leaped up. He's got great leaping ability, and that's going to be a very important point. It's 13-6. It could, who knows, it could have an overtime.
68 yards, the Bear drive, and it took them 6 plays. Once again, the rundown of the CBS Sports Spectacular card for next weekend. Triple-header boxing from Vegas. The Spinks brothers, Leon taking on Scott Ledoux in a heavyweight bout, and Michael are going against Gary Summerhays, light heavyweights, and Bernardo Machado against Greg Johnson in another heavyweight matchup, plus round 4 of the world's strongest men competition. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing how a team can be frustrated the whole half, and you get down inside that 2-minute warning, and it's like a whole new ball game. All of a sudden, the Bears went zip, 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 and they were in. Part of the crowd of 48,000 capacity here. Temperature around 55 degrees. Very pleasant day to watch football, particularly in the sunshine.
And they're never in a hurry to get out of the ballpark because they go outside, find their camper. There's about 50 million campers outside the ballpark, and then you sit there and have a little Coke or orange juice.
Or a little more than that. All right, Thomas to kick off. Manfred Moore is deep. Moore standing on the 15 at the 10-yard line is where he fields it up to the 15. Trying to hurdle a couple of tacklers as he crosses the 20 out to the 26-yard line. Art Best, number 25 on the tackle for the Bears. 1 minute exactly left to play in the first half, and there's the book on the Chicago scoring drive. 13-6 Vikings.
And for Fran Tarkenton, 1 minute is plenty of time to try and get at least a field goal on the board.
And of course he's got the timeouts to work with. Tarkenton over the middle, wide open is Miller at the 30, 35. And Miller has a first down at the 39-yard line. A pickup of 13 yards on the play. And the Vikings will stop the clock with 50 seconds left in the half.
Now you can watch the backs. Both go out. Tarkenton never leaves his backs in, and he's been throwing an awful lot over the middle, and you can see the middle zone was wide open, especially at this point of the game. Buffon misses another missed tackle, and Miller was able to get himself a first down out of it. But they're trying to exploit that middle on the Bear linebackers as they drop off, which will have more of a tendency to drop off even more with 50 seconds left in the half.
Logan's Run tomorrow night on CBS, the series that hits with the impact of Star Wars. You can see it at 8, 7 Central and Mountain Time. As tomorrow a mighty battle looms for control of the Star Worlds. That's Logan's Run on CBS. You notice I left out Intergalactic.
Yes. Intergalactic.
Work on that one.
Somebody made
John,
that
right?
word up. That's not a real word. It's almost obscene.
Francis Tarkenton had taking advantage of the timeout to talk to Bud Grant, although you have to admit, as much as Tarkinen knows about the game, it's like another coach in the field. When he goes to the sidelines, it is simply a courtesy call. I don't think there's much that Bud can tell him. First and 10, Vikings from their 40-yard line. Tarkinen straight back into the pocket, wants to go long. Sideline throw, and Sammy White tried to stand on the sidelines and catch that thing, but he was dragging at least 1 foot out of bounds, and the pass is called incomplete. Timeout situation.
Fran took a little punishment after he threw that ball. You know, one thing that makes Tarkenton so mobile back there is, if you ever notice when he sets up in his pattern, watch his feet. They go pitter-patter. His feet are going up and down. He's standing there looking for a receiver, and his feet go up and down. Most quarterbacks will get back there and set, and then throw, and their foot goes forward as they throw. Tarkenton's always got his feet moving.
The pitter-patter of Francis' feet. Second and 10. Vikes at their 40-yard line, leading 13-6. 44 seconds to go. Foreman gets the call, and this time the Bears were ready for him. Good defense by the Bears, particularly Roger Stillwell, number 71, who grabbed him by the jersey. And Chambers, of course, was there too, and it was actually, if anything, a loss of a yard in the play. Back at the 39, it's now third down, and just about 11 needed for the first down. Here's Francis. Little pitter-patter for you. Foreman, one-handed catch. Close to the first down, but I don't believe he got it at the Viking 48-yard line. 12 seconds, 10 seconds to go. Now the Bears ought to call time here to force the Vikings to punt.
Well, the Vikings did it for them.
If I was the offense, I don't think I'd be calling time, would you?
No.
But if I was the defense, I would. So the Vikings call timeout with 5 seconds to go, 4th down and 2. And I would imagine now they may not be punting.
Here's a look at the last play. A nice grab by Foreman, one-handed, and he almost got the first down out of it. But Tarkin, did you see he was looking left all the way, and at the last minute he had to make a decision. He looked right and found Foreman. And then Foreman did the rest as he grabbed the ball and made a couple of nifty moves. You'll see Virgil Livers make the final crunching blow to keep him from getting the first down.
Well, the Vikings are not going to punt. They'll run out the clock here with 5 seconds to go. Don't forget NFL Today. At the conclusion of the first half, highlight scores, the whole works. Tarkinen sacked on the final play of the first half. A lot of pressure applied by the Chicago Bears. Ron Rydalch, number 76. That's the end of the first half with the score: Minnesota 13, Chicago 6.
Wherever you may roam, you'll find our name is known. You can trust a Delco.
Thanks, Delco.
Delco Freedom Battery. When things are getting thick and you want to start real quick, you can trust a Delco.
Thanks, Delco.
Delco Freedom Battery. They've got the stuff when the starting's tough. You can trust a Delco.
Thanks, Delco.
Delco Freedom Battery. Delco Freedom.
Thanks, Delco.
Schlitz Light. Schlitz Light beer has a third fewer calories than our other fine beer, and all the taste beer drinkers expect from Schlitz.
Why does he drink that? It is his beer. It's the only light beer with gusto.
Schlitz Light. Beer drinkers know it took Schlitz to bring the taste to light.
Who is the #1 investment firm in the East? Who is the #1 investment firm in the Midwest? Who is the #1 investment firm in the South? Who is the #1 investment firm in the West? You know who. Merrill Lynch. All around America, more investors turn to Merrill Lynch than any other investment firm. Sure, there are lots of investment firms, but there's only one Merrill Lynch.
In 7 years of All in the Family, you've never seen an hour-long story like this.
You know, you smell wonderful.
Oh, that's lemon pledge.
You should be here at 6 o'clock. That's just a couple of...
Edith's 50th birthday party sets the stage for comedy and astonishing drama on a 1-hour special of All in the Family, Sunday at 9, 8 Central and Mountain.
Next Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, CBS Sports Spectacular presents a boxing triple header with gold medalist Leon Spinks taking on Scott Ledoux in a heavyweight contest. Gold medalist Michael Spinks goes against the Canadian champion Gary Summerhays in a light heavyweight matchup. 10th-ranked heavyweight Bernardo Machado tangles with Greg Johnson. And the world's strongest men competition features the wheelbarrow race. That's next Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern.
And what a second half that's going to be in the Chicago-Minnesota game. You're wondering about Terry Bradshaw. Will he quarterback Pittsburgh tomorrow night? We have checked with Steeler coach Chuck Noll, and yes, Bradshaw will try it. Now, he broke his wrist last Sunday against Houston. He'll have a cast. It's on the left wrist. He's practiced this week, but Noll says his only problem is taking the snaps from center. Well, you would think that would be an easy solution. Just have the center hand it back a little more gently. You can't do it, says Noll. We tried it, and it threw the timing off. So if Bradshaw can't play through the pain tomorrow night against Cincinnati, Neil Graff takes over as quarterback. What about O.J. Simpson today, Irv?
O.J. Simpson, Brent, just put his name in the record book once again. He ran over 100 yards today against Atlanta Falcons in the fourth quarter. I just went out of the game with a slight injury, but he's gained over 10,000 yards rushing, and he's the second player ever to do that. Of course, the man who's done it and holds the record is Jim Brown with 12,312 yards.
What a fabulous career, Irv. How about the score of that game right now? Atlanta and Buffalo. The Falcons a slight favorite. They can't move on offense. 3-0, Buffalo ahead. Detroit leading Green Bay 10-6. The Packers, 2 field goals. They were up 6-3, but now the Lions have snapped back. Jim Hart is quarterbacking the Cardinals today. 14-3, third quarter. Worley has just intercepted for the Cardinals. San Francisco, after a rotten first half, has bounced back now in the fourth quarter. They trail the Giants by only a field goal. Baltimore and Kansas City. John Brockington scores for Kansas City. 17-6, the Colts are ahead. And, of course, the game you are watching, 13-6 at the half. Are the Bears for real? We'll find out in the second half. Cleveland and Houston. Donnie Pastorini did go in. John Hadle started for the Oilers. The Browns have come back, and right now they lead it by a score of 21-10. We gave Irv some added duty today because lovely Phyllis is not with us. Take us to the music piece, and it's about her beloved Dallas Cowboys.
That's right. It may not seem as bright, but it's a good spot anyway. Brent, you know, during the 17 years of their existence, the Dallas Cowboys have had only one head coach, and that's Tom Landry. He started out in 1960 with a ragtag expansion team which went the entire year without a victory. But right from the start, Landry knew he was going to build a mountain, as sung by Sammy Davis, Jr.
Tony Dorsett, still number one. He can't break into the Cowboys starting lineup. The NFL Today will continue on CBS after these messages from your local stations.
How far should an advertising girl go to get an account? Watch the new comedy On Our Own tonight, following Rhoda on CBS.
Jim Hart continues his hot hand. It is now St. Louis 21, Philadelphia 3. Let's take a look at O.J. Simpson. Here he is in action, first half against Atlanta. That first down set up a field goal. And it was Neil O'Donoghue kicking it 30 yards. The only score. So look at those empty seats in Buffalo. Has attendance fallen off there? Now, here's the play. O.J. Simpson up over 10,000 yards. Trails only the great James Brown. Only the second running back in history to amass 10,000 yards. Irv, what an athlete he is.
Boy, a super athlete, and I'm really happy to see him go over that 10,000-yard mark, too. But the Philadelphia Eagles right now trail the St. Louis Cardinals, you indicated, Brent, in the fourth quarter by a score of 21-3. And the Cardinals, of course, need this win desperately. This is second quarter action here with Jimmy Hart, who's having a hot hand, going outside to number 84, Ike Harris, who waltzes along the sideline for the first Cardinal score, and they led here in the second quarter 7-3. He came back again late in the second quarter to Terry Metcalf, who hasn't played much, but he played long enough to score this touchdown. And in the fourth quarter, the Cardinals lead it 21-3.
Irv, I hope that everyone heard in our pregame show on the NFL Today the latest rumor about Reggie Jackson and Billy Martin and the New York Yankees. Time magazine will report tomorrow that Jackson claims he will not return under any circumstances to the Yankees if Billy Martin remains the manager. Can you believe that? They're one victory away from winning a World Series, and they still got turmoil like that. They should be getting ready to pop the champagne in L.A. Let's take a look now at some of the highlights of the game you've been watching. Chicago and Minnesota. Here's the fumble going, and the Vikes turned it into a touchdown. It was Chuck Foreman, 7-0 after the extra point. And it looked like it was going to be a long, long day in Bloomington. Here's Art Best. It's been a good pickup. Los Angeles Rams got rid of him, but not this time. But then the Bears managed to rally. Avellini has come alive. Didn't he look good Monday night? Here he is, hitting Bo Rather, 13-6. I got a hunch, of course, that it's going to be a war up there in Bloomington in the second half. Well, let's take a look now at the San Francisco 49ers and the New York Giants. Couple of games in the Meadowlands. The first half, I have never seen a team look as bad as the San Francisco 49ers did. Now, in the third quarter, Whittam was punting, and here is Hammond, and it looked like it was going to be more of the same. Keep in mind, at the time, it was 17-3. This is a fine return, and Hammond is a player. He has been all year for the Giants. They kicked a field goal. It was 20-3. Finally, the slumbering giant by the bay came awake. 46 yards to Harrison from Plunkett, down to the 3. 2 plays later, Jackson for the touchdown. Plunkett again. This time, he wants Gene Washington. Set it up, and after they scored, it was 20-17. So they are very much in the chase. And right now, let's go back to Bloomington. Here's Frank Gleber and Johnny Morris.
We're at halftime with the Minnesota Vikings leading the Chicago Bears by a score of 13-6. Pretty hard-fought football game. In the early going, it was all Minnesota, but the Bears certainly came back during the 2-minute period and tied things up. Chuck Foreman, Johnny's had a great first half, 87 yards rushing, and I notice he's caught, 3 passes? That's not bad.
3 passes for 24 yards. That's pretty good all-around football. The difference has been those 2 fumbles. The Bears have fumbled twice, lost the ball twice. Total yardage is very close. Minnesota 178 to 156 for the Chicago Bears. The Bears have only tried 8 passes. Avellini is 6 for 8. Fran Tarkenton is 7 for 16. So statistics-wise, it's fairly close. But on the board, it's 13-6 Vikings.
I'm a little amazed at that statistic because, as we mentioned, I think earlier, the Vikings have the #1 defense against the rush. So you'd expect Avellini to be throwing a lot more, but obviously he hasn't.
No, they're trying to penetrate that, make the Vikings think they're going to run, and then throw the bomb to Scott or to start opening up. The Bears have had a tendency over the past couple of years to stick with the game plans. Their game plan obviously was to run and throw. They'd like to run 50 plays and throw 20. That's the ratio that they would like to do. And they're going to stick to that and hope that it works. And some coaches believe in sticking with the game plan. Some coaches believe that something goes wrong, they'll break the game plan right away. But the Bears have stuck with it.
A lot of unusual things, I guess you might say. It's a rarity now when you see 2 teams with the quarterbacks calling their own plays in one game. That's getting to be a little bit unusual in the National Football League.
I think it's great. If you stop and think about the great teams, Bart Starr called his own plays. Johnny Unitas called his own plays. Kenny Stabler, when the Oakland won the Super Bowl, calls his own plays. The teams that really came on and were championship teams and are winners consistently have quarterbacks, and the Vikings are another team. Our winners will have the quarterback call their own plays, and I believe in it personally. And I think that most coaches, as long as they have confidence in the quarterback, will let the quarterback do that, because he's down on the field and he can get advice from up in the press box in between series. But there's nobody that has the feel like the man down on the field. I don't care what you say.
Yeah, we gave you Foreman's rushing statistics of 87 yards in the first half. Not to downgrade Mr. Payton. He had a pretty good first half, too. He picked up 66 yards in 11 carries, which averages out to 6 yards per carry. And ironically, that's what he was averaging coming into the ballgame.
Yes, and he'll probably break one or two more before this game is over. The Bears came on strong last year against the Vikings and almost pulled it out. We'll see what happens this year. That blocked extra point by Blair could be very instrumental in determining the outcome of this game. Who knows?
As it was last year when the Vikings managed to thwart 2 of the extra point efforts of Bob Thomas, and it proved to be a one-point ball game with the Minnesota Vikings defeating the Chicago Bears 1 year ago, 20-19 up here, and then Chicago turning the tables and beating Minnesota by 1 out there. The teams are back, and we'll be ready to go in just a moment.
I'm going to keep on doing that till I get it right. Yeah, I work hard and I play hard, and I use new STP gas treatment. You just pump it in your tank and it goes to work cleaning your carburetor. I take good care of my wheels on account of I'm cheap. I bet you are, too. Try it.
The Quintrix 2-color picture tube from Panasonic brings you a very lifelike picture. Because Quintrix 2 is our inline picture tube with an extra pre-focus lens that concentrates and focuses the electron beam to bring you Panasonic's sharpest picture ever. So lifelike, you may even feel you're part of the picture. Quintrix 2, one more reason Panasonic is just slightly ahead of our time.
This is my team, the Chicago Bears. Hello, I'm Johnny Musso, and I'd like to show you Chicago. Call Sandburg the poet. Call Chicago the city of big shoulders. That's because it carries so much of the trade and commerce of this country. It's where trucks and trains and ships pass through on their way to all of America. It's tall buildings on the lakefront, Old Town, Rush Street, and the Magnificent Mile. And it's people, good-natured, hard-working people. People who work in our United Way. For the boys' clubs, YMCA, Travelers Aid, and many other agencies funded by our United Way. They take pride in the Bears, in our town, in our United Way. You see, Chicago has more than big shoulders. It has a big heart. On behalf of all our volunteers, we'd like to say, thanks to you, it works. For all of us, the United Way.
The preceding announcement was brought to you as a public service by the National Football League. Vikings will kick off. For those of you interested in comparing Chuck Foreman and Walter Payton in the first half, this is the way they stand. Foreman did catch 3 passes in addition to that for 24 yards, and Payton did not catch a pass. But pretty even so far. Two of the great running backs in the National Football League. Freddie Cox to kick off for the Vikings. Art Best running this one down, and Musso comes up with it at the 20. And dropped at the 28.
They may call some piling on here. I don't know.
I'm looking for a police. Is that a flag down there?
Yes.
Yes, it is a flag next to the ball. So there was a penalty marker thrown at the 28-yard line. And the penalty will be against Minnesota, and it will cost the Vikings 15 yards. And that'll move it out to the 43. Give the Bears excellent field position. Let's get the call here from the referee, Bob Frederick.
Defense. Personal foul number 54, piling on. First down.
Keen eyes, Mr. Morris.
Well, when you see bodies flying late, you got to figure something's wrong somewhere.
You see the flag go, right? First and 10 for the Bears at their 43-yard line. Payton Got a yard to the 44, and that's it. As the left side of the Vikings defensive line stacked him up, Alan Page, number 88 in there. Alan's got to be one of the world's oldest law students at 32. He's, I think, now in his 15th year of law school. He does it a semester at a time.
Well, he's getting there, though. I'll tell you what, I give him credit for that.
Second down 9. They really call Peyton Sweetness.
Sweetness, yes.
They really do call him that.
Yeah, that's his real nickname. When it comes to football, that's exactly what he is.
Slot formation left with Bo Rather in the slot. On second down 9, Avellini backs up to throw. The blitz was on by the Vikings. Caused him to hurry it a little bit. Rather, the intended receiver at the 50-yard line as McNeil was coming in on the left side. 6 out of 9 now for Bob Avellini.
It's very hard to throw deep against the Vikings because they do use so many zone defenses, and you've got Paul Krause back there in center field who has amazing reactions and know-how from playing so long in the league that he helps out. A lot of times it might appear to be a man-for-man coverage, but he's there to help out, and they use different zones, as do the Bears. These teams use mostly zone defenses on pass defense now, so it's hard to get behind anybody. So the Bears are trying to throw in front if they can.
Third down 9, Bears at their 44. Again, pressure on Avellini, runs out of it, 45 to the 50-yard line, short of the first down. At midfield, Avellini ran well in the latter stages of the first half. Ran 3 times for a total of 26 yards. Some of it coming in that Bear touchdown drive. Not enough there for the first down, and the Bears will have to punt.
Well, he was being swarmed upon by the Vikings and just went forward in the pocket very nicely and saw wide open spaces, but he had a long ways to go. So right here, if he wanted to put his shoulder down, try and run over somebody, he might have been able to get the first down, but the quarterback's not supposed to do that, and for long length of life in the NFL, you don't.
Schubert pinning Manfred Moore at the 7-yard line following Bob Parsons' punt. Bob had a bad first half, 3 punts for a 28-yard average, which included 1 5-yarder, which took that reverse bounce. Time out of the field. Vikings lead the Bears 13-6. We're a minute and a half deep into the second half.
Should have bought Mobile One. The oil, it saves you gas, you know.
Should have bought Mobile One. Helps you start at 35 below.
Should have bought Mobile One. Engine temperature hits 500. You're cool.
Should have bought Mobile One. You only change it every 15,000 miles.
Mobile One, the oil that does it all. Take it from an expert.
Want to cut your fuel bills? Whether your house is new or old, put insulation everywhere. It can save you money. Your attic. You need a 6 to 12-inch blanket of pink Owens Corning fiberglass. Walls, full insulation. Unheated crawl space, insulate below the floor. Live where it's cold, insulate basement walls. See your Owens Corning fiberglass supplier to learn all about insulation. Insulation is cheaper than oil.
Vikings with their backs to the wall have a first down at their 7-yard line. We've got an update and a score for you here.
St. Louis leads Philadelphia now 21-10 in the fourth quarter. Jaworski has thrown a pass to Herb Luss for a touchdown.
Don't forget Logan's Run. CBS tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, 7 Central and Mountain Time. Two mighty forces battle over who shall rule the star world of the 24th century. Vikings' first offensive possession of the second half. They lead by 7. Tarkinen throwing from the end zone out to Foreman. I think he hung that up in the air a little bit longer than he'd wanted to because it gave Fensick the opportunity to grab hold of Foreman and make sure he didn't get away. Picked up 3 in the play to the 10. It'll be second down 7.
Detroit and Green Bay in a pretty good game. In the fourth quarter, it's 10-6 Detroit in the fourth quarter. And the Giants lead San Francisco 20-17 in the fourth quarter.
Our score, the Bears 6, and the Vikings 13. We're just underway here in the third period. Bears trying to get the good defense going here. Force the Vikings to punt from deep in their own territory. If they keep that up, they'll do just that. Chuck Foreman getting the call and getting at most a yard, which will set up third down and a long 6 needed for the first down. Rod Rideouch, number 76, filling the hole that time for the Bears.
Will Tarkington go for the pass to an outside man like the down and out or the Cook, or will he go for the backs as he's done so much today, just wheeling out of the backfield trying to get the 6 or 7 yards? Interesting call. We'll see what Tarkington comes up with on his own 11-yard line.
The Bears could hold them here. They'd be in great shape. They'd have the Vikings punting from the goal line. And they go instead to Foreman, and Foreman has the first down, but lost the ball, and the Bears recover at the 27-yard line. Number 50 for the Chicago Bears happens to be the man of the hour, and that's Wayman Bryant.
I guess turnabout is fair play. It's just kind of the semi-draw here as he stutter steps, and a beautiful call by Tarkington. Big hole, and finally he's hit, and the ball comes spurting out. And there was Wayman Bryant, 50 to jump on it. So the Bears now in Minnesota territory on the 27-yard line, first down, and a chance to tie the game.
Great field position for Chicago as Amelini brings him up to the line of scrimmage. Rather in the slot off to the right side, the fake to Payton. Amelini on the rollout, going to run it. I don't believe he got back to the line of scrimmage. He was run out of bounds at the 28-yard line, which would be a loss of 1 yard on the play. Eller running him out.
Good coverage downfield by the Viking defensive backfield, because Amelini had a lot of time on that rollout to find somebody, but nobody was open. Here's the final score. The New York Giants beat the 49ers 20-17. That is now a final, and it was Baltimore over Kansas City 17-6. So the Colts are now 5-0 in that Eastern Division of the AFC.
2nd and 11. Bears at the Viking 28-yard line, trying to tie it up. Payton flagged down. As Payton reaches the 24, we've got a hold against the Bears. That's the preliminary indication we get, holding against Chicago.
Well, that's something that'll stop a drive in a big hurry.
Walter Payton has had 100-yard games in each of the Bears' 3 home games this year. But in their only previous road game against St. Louis, which we saw, he gained only 36 yards.
Offensive holding, number 64.
Ted Albrecht was called for holding. The Bears now have a 2nd down and very long yardage situation.
2nd and 21 for the Bears at the 38-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. Bears trailing 13-6. 11:44 left to play in the 3rd period. Amelini, 3rd-year man from Maryland, stands strong in the pocket and hits Scott at the 25, and Scott is down near the 20-yard line. Not quite enough for the first down. They have to reach the 17 to pick up the first, but that takes them to within 4 yards of the first down. Pickup of 17, and Paul Krause makes the stop.
The Vikings put a blitz on. They had Blair 59 coming, but the Bears held him out just long enough as Scott went down and in, made the catch, and took his punishment. Good play. James Scott, who's becoming more and more of a vital cog in the Bear offense, not only with the bombs, but now catching passes in the 15 to 20-yard range, which are so important.
3rd down and 4. Bears at the Viking 21-yard line. They have to reach the 17 for the first down. Amelini, sideline throw knocked away from Bo Rather by Nate Wright.
Good coverage by Nate Wright. Jolted the ball loose. Stops the Bear drive, and they'll have to settle for a possible field goal unless they decide to go for it, which they won't. They're going to kick.
Thomas on the year, 5 out of 7 in the field goal department. This is his first effort of the afternoon. It is a 38-yard attempt. Long enough. Good. Thomas connects from 38 yards away. So that means with a touchdown now, the Bears could take the lead. Timeout in Minnesota. We'll be back in just a moment.
You want to start something? You want to start something?
You want to start something? Start using Rayovac alkaline energy cells, the finest battery Rayovac makes. No ordinary battery can last as long as our alkaline energy cell. In fact, one Rayovac alkaline can last up to 8 times longer than an ordinary battery.
So if you want to start something, start using Rayovac Alkaline.
Get something started with Rayovac.
When life's grind gets to you.
Go Mustang.
Mustang.
Let a Mustang take you away.
This is a great time to go Mustang because this year Mustang 2 is base sticker price less than last year.
Mustang.
The 78 Ford Mustang 2 T-Roof convertible.
Go Mustang.
So beat the grind. Go Mustang. A better idea from Ford.
Monday on Logan's Run, a man with a deadly mission is sent into the future to change history as two civilizations fight for life on Logan's Run. Monday at 8, 7 Central and Mountain.
Bob Thomas ready to kick off for the Chicago Bears. 10:49 left to play in the third period. Manfred Moore is deep. Swift kick up the middle. Who's going to field it? For a moment, like no one would. Sammy White finally picked it up and is dropped at the 27-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Vikings. Big lineup of regional action on CBS next Sunday. These are some of the games that you'll have an opportunity to see, depending on what part of the country you happen to live. Cowboys and the Eagles, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Giants and Washington. Bears are at home against Atlanta, New Orleans, St. Louis, and Detroit against San Francisco. Francis Tarkenton with a nice fake into the middle. Tarkenton going upstairs, and Ellis picks it off and goes out of bounds at the 37. First down, Bears. Ellis had been setting that one up all afternoon. He's gotten close.
Allen has had a good game. He covered Sammy White early in the ball game. Up the play action pass, Tarkenton fires the ball, and he is simply covered, and Ellis comes up with great reaction, steals the ball, and puts the Bears in Viking territory at the 37-yard line.
Well, first a fumble, now a pass interception. Let's see if the Bears are able to capitalize. They can take the lead now with a touchdown. First down at the Minnesota 37-yard line. Avellini calling his own plays for the second game. Hands off to the second man, who is Payton. And Walter takes it to the 34. Pickup of 3 in the play. It'll be second down 7. Carl Eller, number 81, makes the stop.
What the Bears are doing, they had the double slot that time, as you see Walter following Harper, and of course Carl Eller gets on there and gets a nice shot in there. But they're doing the double slot that last time to the right side to bring Jeff Wright over, and that eliminates him from making a tackle along to the weak side. Now they're in the double slot again, both wide receivers on this side.
Avellini has never thrown a touchdown pass against the Vikings. He faced them just a couple of times. Slips the ball to Harper, but the Vikings weren't full, and they trip up Harper for a loss at the 37. Fred McNeil leading the charge that time as the Vikings defense is getting tough. Been tough all the way through. Just doesn't give much at all. So that takes it back to the original line of scrimmage. We're now at 3rd down 10.
Mark Mullaney is now in. Jim Marshall just went out of the game on this 3rd down situation.
Mullaney was a top draft choice of the Vikings defensive lineman 1 year ago. On 3rd and 10, they give it to Payton, and Payton is stopped. Virtually no gain on the play as things turned out, as the Bears are stopped goal by the Viking defense.
Well, they tried to draw on the passing situation, and Payton just could not get loose, although he tried. And the Vikings finally got him down. They're in a situation now, 4th and 9. So Bob Parsons going to punt.
Well, but out of Thomas's field goal range, it would take a field goal attempt of something like 53, 54 yards. Good rush on Parsons, but he gets it away. Bouncing at the 5 and heading on into the end zone. The Bears tip it back onto the field of play, and it's down at the 7-yard line.
The Bears are saying that it was touched by a Viking, that there's a fumble.
Of course, the ball did go into the end zone, but it did not touch the ground in the end zone. So the Bears, quite legally, batted it back on the field of play, and it's down at the 7.
Good play by Schubert.
Vikings take over, 1st and 10 at their 7. Timeout here in Bloomington.
What's the hurry? Oh, going to rent a car. Oh, well, you don't have to run. Gotta run. Oh, no, if you had an Avis Wizard number, you could walk.
Walk.
Call toll-free and let our Wizard system do the running. Just show a major credit card, license, sign, and get the car.
I don't have to run through airports?
Not with Avis.
I can walk through airports.
We try harder, Avis. Avis, we don't know another way.
I'm walking through airports.
Leslie Caron for Color Track by RCA.
In Gigi, my brooch was blue, the leaves were green, and my gown was lavender lace. If these colors don't look right to you, you should know about Color Track from RCA. Getting the color right is what Color Track is all about. It actually adjusts the colors and locks them on track.
Before you see the Color Track system grabs it, aligns it, defines it, sharpens it, tones it, and locks the color on track.
RCA is making television better and better.
The National Basketball Association wars get underway shortly. And our premier game this year on CBS, the two best of last year, Philadelphia and Portland, will tip it off Friday night, October 28th at 11:30 Eastern Time. Dr. J and Bill Walton. Vikings first and 10 from their 7-yard line on 2 of their 3 possessions here. The last 3, they've started at the 7-yard line. That's not field position at all. Wally Chambers making his presence felt on the right side of that defensive line. That's a 4th period score.
21-17 St. Louis. St. Louis now 1-3 in the Eastern Division, so they need a victory there. It's quite a game going on in the AFC Central. Cleveland 21, Houston 20 in the 3rd quarter.
Miller is coupled with Foreman behind Fran Tarkenton on 2nd down 8. Francis throwing from the goal line, drops it over the middle out to the 14-yard line. He's got to pay a lot of attention to Mr. Foreman, number 44, and Wayman Bryant did just that. 3rd down, and the Vikings still need 3 for the 1st down at their 14.
Well, Tarkenton sent out both backs again. He doesn't leave anybody in to help out. A lot of quarterbacks will keep a back in or even 2 backs to make sure they don't get sacked, but not Fran. He figured he just doesn't need it, and he gets those backs out in the patterns.
Sammy White to the right side, Rashad to the left. And again, Tarkenton backs up to throw. Under pressure this time from the Bears, still looking. Gets it away and throws it incomplete. Intended for Rashad, but considerably short of the mark at the 30-yard line.
He is uncanny back there when he is rushed. It's just unbelievable. He got that pass on, and he was throwing it away, but Rashad was kind of in the area. You can't call anything on him. Great play. But the Bears have stopped the Vikings pretty cold this second half and have had 2 opportunities and only come up with 3 points.
Schubert is deep. Clavo punting from his goal line. Bears playing return all the way, and he gets a nice punt off, driving Schubert back to his 38. Schubert at the 40-yard line looking for a block. Gets away from one man to the 40, 45, and is stopped near midfield. So once again, the Bears will start with fairly decent field position at their 49-yard line. 7 minutes, 1 second left to play in the 3rd period, and Minnesota leading Chicago 13-9.
I've got a nice business, but I'm no whiz at financial planning. Fortunately, my Connecticut General representative is. He sure comes through for me.
Coming through for you. That's what CG people do.
My company needs an insurance representative as professional as our lawyer, tax advisor, and accountant. And Connecticut General always comes through.
Coming through for you. That's what CG people do.
Call us. We'll come through for you, too.
I was asked to talk about the incredible Black & Decker Workmate. There's almost nothing it can't hold. But the Workmate is so incredible, I'm going to let it do the talking.
The Workmate from Black & Decker and nobody else. When America has a job to do, it reaches for Black & Decker.
As a final score in the Central Division of the NFC, Detroit beating Green Bay 10-6.
So, excuse me, Frank, that would mean that Detroit's 3-2 in the Central Division. Green Bay now 1-4.
A long year for the Pack, looks like. Bob Avellini, 7 out of 11 for 77 yards. 1st and 10. Bears at their 49-yard line. Good protection for Avellini. Floats it out there, just trying to reach the receiver, who in this case happened to be Roland Harper, number 35. Just over his head at the 30-yard line. At 47,708 here in attendance, 738 no-shows. I tell you, you couldn't find a better day to go to a football game on.
There's not an earmuff in the whole stadium. Who would have believed it up in Minnesota?
There's probably a few in the pockets, but they're not wearing them, just in case.
Well, there's a big earmuff.
2nd and 10. Bears at their 49-yard line. They've had trouble running the football, so Avellini's going to the air. Fires on the run and completes it to Letta down to the 30-yard line of Minnesota. 1st down. Did a good job as he took off and threw the football in mid-flight, mid-stride.
And this is where Bob Avellini has made his progress. Watch Letta go down. He'll hook to the inside, and he'll see Avellini in trouble, and he comes back to help out and adjust his pattern. Avellini was on the run and hit Latta, who's taped up just like a lineman, but he catches that ball with those high-top shoes and says, give me that ball, 1st down.
Notice the way he sneaked around Jeff Seaman, the middle linebacker?
Yes. 1st
and 10. The Bears on the move here. They need a touchdown to take the lead, and they're at the Viking 30. Peyton, marker down. Penalty marker down.
Here is a final score in a real high-scoring game. Buffalo 3, Atlanta nothing. That is a final. Buffalo's first victory of the year.
Boy, that's got to be disappointing. Here's a 5-yard walk-off against the Vikings offside. Carl Eller was offside. That makes it 1st and 5. The Bears at the 25-yard line of Minnesota.
The biggest excitement about that Buffalo game probably had to be O.J. Simpson going over the 10,000-yard mark. Here's a final, a must game for St. Louis, just barely beating Philadelphia 21-17.
Our score, the Vikings 13 and the Bears 9. 1st and 5, Bears at the Viking 25-yard line. Harper down to the 21, within a yard of the 1st down. Fred McNeil making the stop.
Dan Piper really tied up Alan Page on this play to allow him to get through the line. Now watch, you'll see 53 tying up Alan Page, and then Harper puts his head down, runs into McNeil, who hangs on, gets a little help from Sutherland, but the Bears got some yardage out of it. A 2nd down and 2 situation, which is a beautiful situation to be in, especially when you're down on the 20-yard line.
Actually, a little more than a yard is all they need for the 1st down, the way that ball is spotted, and Sweetness gets it. And then some as he moves it inside the 15-yard line to the 13.
Isn't it amazing how when he gets hit by a bunch of people, it seems like everybody rolls down the field. He winds up with an extra 3 or 4 yards. That's because
Bears win this, of course. They tie the Vikings for the divisional lead. They lose it. They're 2 games out. Crowd imploring the Minnesota defense to dig in and stop them. Harper to about the 1-yard line. Stacked up on the right side of the defensive line of the Minnesota Vikings. Official's going to put it down at the 2.
If the Bears get close enough, we can get the slow motion cameras ready for Walter Payton's dive up and over for the touchdown. He probably gets higher and flies farther than anybody in the NFL once he gets close enough and gets a chance to leap.
2nd down, goal to go. Payton. Jim Marshall, 39 years old and 18 years in the league.
Well, they decided to go off the tackle almost to the end run side, and there was no place to go because great play by Jeff Seaman and a follow-up by Jim Marshall, who was sure-handed when he got a hold of Payton that time. Good defense by the Vikings.
Minnesota digging in, crowd getting louder. 3rd down, goal to go. Avellini on the roll. Fires. Touchdown! Greg Letta puts the Bears in the lead.
Bob Avellini once again. Bud Grant says he's the most improved aspect of the Bears. He almost collided with Walter Payton, rolls out. The Vikings smell it coming, but Avellini just zipped the ball on the run, and there was Greg Latta, sure-handed with those taped up, but he got the ball. Watch this here. Almost busted his pattern coming out on the rollout, and that's a tough